Hey guys, we're here in the tomato bed. I'd figure I'd give you a little bit of a walkthrough as to what I do to maintain these plants. Now I have 10 plants in this 10-foot bed, spaced evenly. I haven't touched them since I've put them in, so I'm going to tie them to their stakes and take the suckers out. Okay, let's get started. So I always found that every tomato plant grows a little bit differently, but maintenance is the same. Now in these beds, I have the weed guard down, so I very rarely have to weed. Just some small plants come up around the edges and check around the base of the plant to make sure no large weeds are popping up. Sometimes they do. Again, I haven't touched this bed since I put these plants in. Time to tie them all up. Don't tie them too tight. Leave them relatively loose. That stalk is going to get quite a lot bigger. Put another one further up. I'm terrible at tying knots, but there we go. That'll do it. And then next thing to do is take the suckers out. Again, I haven't touched these plants since I put them in, so some of them are pretty big. Suckers are pretty easy to figure out. Growing tip, so main stem, leaf, sucker. Now, just because you pull it out once doesn't mean it's gone forever. These things just keep coming back, so you often have to go back and keep checking the lower leaves. There's a sucker right there that came back. Again, leaf, stem, sucker. If they get too big, I usually just nip them off like that. It is important you do this, especially if you have a short growing season like I do. One year I ended up with, in mid-September, I had about 50 pea-sized tomatoes that weren't going to come even close to ready by the time the end of the season came in. So you want keep all the energy focused on the main stalk. You will get less fruit, but at least you'll get fruit. It won't be it won't be underdeveloped when the winter time comes. And like I said, every tomato plant is a little bit different. To move this stake over a little bit. This guy has tons of suckers coming up from the base. Again, you have to make sure that you take care of those. There's another one there. Let's take that one off. Another one there. Take that one off. Cut that one. Again, those suckers will grow incredibly quickly and basically take over all the energy that's coming up through the main stem. So this one's got tons of suckers. Take them all off. Does seem a little drastic, but again, quite necessary, especially in a short growing season. All right, 2 out of 10. Let's keep moving. Now this one's a little bit problematic. I probably should have got to it a lot earlier. So you already have a sucker that's taking a huge amount of energy away from the main stalk. It's a big plant. And another sucker here that's already coming up. This is not going to be Again, if these weren't here, this would be growing up a lot higher. But there's always time to correct the problems, so I'm going to cut that one off, cut that one off, cut this one off, pull this weed out, some more weeds, and then sucker there, there, there. There's a sucker there. It's hard to tell sometimes, right? There's the main growing tip, there's the sucker. Again, probably should have got that one a lot earlier. That's okay. And this will just, yeah, we'll move this over a little bit. And we'll tie them up. Okay. Again, it does seem quite drastic. Tomatoes are really quite a resilient plant. They'll reroot and really grow quite well. Again, the whole idea is to channel that energy up the main stalk. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Now this one's a good example of what happens if you don't take out the suckers. Basically, the sucker plant is growing as rapidly as the main growing shoot, and the divide happened somewhere early on in the life of the plant. So what are we going to do? Well, that's a good question. So I can see some other shoots here that need to go. That one. That's a leaf. That's a sucker there. That's a sucker there. What else do we have? That's a sucker. These are all suckers. What else do we have? Caterpillar. Ugh. That's a first. Okay. There's a sucker there too. Look at that guy. Sucker off the base. Some weeds. Okay, so now we can see what has happened. Early on, there was a sucker down at the base that was, let's call it, uncontrolled. So now we have a couple options. We can leave both of them, see what happens, or you just pick the stronger one, which looks like this one, and cut the other one down. I'm going to leave both of them, see what happens. I'm going to stake one to this side, and I'm going to go grab another stake and stake the other one to the other side. But let's tie this one up first, make sure there's no other suckers. There's one right here. Take this one out. Okay, this plant. Okay, so that one's clean. Let's tie it up to this side. Okay, I'm gonna go grab another stake, tie it up to the other side. Okay, we have the other stake. Just do a quick check, make sure there's no suckers left on. Again, sometimes, aha, there's one. There's one right there. This one's a little odd in that this whole plant is a little odd in that the suckers don't necessarily occur at the leaf joint. But clearly it's a sucker. It's another growing tip, right? We want only one growing tip. Now it is unfortunate. You can see there are flowers that are starting to show up. So obviously it would produce fruit. But again, if you leave it, the fruit will never be ready in time to harvest. So it does you no good having it on. Okay, 4 done, on to the next one. This one suffers from the same problem. Suckers out of control, right? So you see there's 2 of them there. Those guys are gonna go bye-bye and bye-bye. There's another one here. Man, these are huge. Another one here. And in every leaf joint. There's the main growing tip. Move our stake over a little bit and tie them up. Oh. Oh, that's a sucker. Another weird one. Didn't grow on in the node, but grew off of a leaf. So again, there's your main one. There's your sucker. And off he comes. Now don't worry if he's leaning over. He'll start going up as soon as starts growing a little bit. Just lean him up against there. Yeah, just leave him. So this one is just falling over. Again, I should have tied these a while ago. That's okay. So let's take a look here. So there's a sucker right there. Again, it can be hard to distinguish. That's the main stem, leaf, sucker. Off he comes. If you left that one on, the plant would have just become way too top heavy, and would have been in danger of breaking the main stem. So we'll tie him up, and again the plant will reorientate itself upwards in a couple days. It doesn't take very long. give it one final check. Looks good. No fruit set on that one yet. They're just starting to come. Better hurry up. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, this one has a huge stem. This is by far the thickest plant that's out here. You can see one really big sucker. There it is. Take it out. It's got some pretty big flowers. Fruit is already set on it, which is good. I'm going to move this. I'm just going to bend this stake over a little bit. There we go. That's it. That one was fairly easy. Tie it up. And again, it'll start heading up in a few days. Just do one more check, make sure there's no suckers around. Good. On to the next one. Okay, so this plant is really dense, and the reason for that is there's two growing tips here. One of them is a really thick sucker. I'll take that out right away. Let's start from the bottom. There's one right there. There's one right there. And okay, so this one's a little bit interesting. So there's the main stem, and you can see it. Let's see. Let's come around here a little bit. Main stem, sucker. Very, very large sucker. Yeah, let's take them out. Again, it may seem aggressive, but you won't get any fruit. That thing will just take a ton of energy off the plant. Okay, so there's another sucker there. So there's my main growing tip. This one's gonna have to get moved over. And we'll tie them up. Just use one. This one already has fruit set. There's one right there. And lots of flowers coming, so you'll be good. You'll be fine. Okay, so we're here at one of the final two plants. Again, really dense plant, so let's see what's going on inside here. All right, so there's a sucker right there. I don't know if you can see that, but quite a large one. Take him out. And then same thing happens, right? So main stem, sucker, there's my main growing tip. I'm going to take this one out. Again, should have caught it earlier, but oh well. And take this growing tip. Stem there. And there's my main growing tip right there. Already looks a lot better. Now, can I bend this over? Yeah, that'll work. Rather not move it too much if I can avoid it. Just don't want to disrupt all the root system. But again, tomatoes are quite, I'm not going to say hardy because they don't like the cold, but they are quite tolerant of root damage and being very aggressive with pruning. All right. The other ones looks good. Flowers on. On to the last one. Okay, again, an overly dense plant. Let's see what's going on in here. Ouch! Oh my goodness, that guy's prickly. Holy man, that hurt. Now watch, some of those guys can go right through your gloves. Okay, what's going on down here? This is another one where we had a sucker right at the beginning. So now we have two equally strong main stems. So again, what I'll probably do is prune them down and tie up each one individually and hope for the best. So following the stem on the left, that's a sucker. That's a sucker. There's a sucker right there. And there. There's a sucker right there. Come on. There. And there. And you see, sometimes you get really large suckers really close to the top. These are the ones that, when they start off this strong, they really take a lot of energy from the plant. Okay, so that one's done. I'm gonna train him over here. Let's look at this one now. This one's got lots of suckers, really large ones too, just like that one. So I'll take this one out. Take this one out. What else we have? There's one right there. There's one right here. Looks like that's about it. Okay, I'll get another stake. Tie these two plants to separate stakes. I'm going to bend this one over because we need to train him over to this stalk or this stake. Good. Oh wait, this one here. And take a last check on this one. All right, much better. All right, there you go. 10 plants pruned and trimmed and tied up to their stakes. from here on in, it's pretty straightforward. We just come around once a week and tie up the plants as needed and remove the suckers. You do have to keep checking the entire stalk because they just seem to keep coming back from the same leaf node. I don't know how they do it, but it is what happens. But with this weed guard down, we never have to weed the bed, just around the edges a little bit. So it really cuts down on the maintenance that's here, and we should be, by the looks of things, there's lots of flowers already out, lots of fruit already starting to set, so we should get a pretty good crop of tomatoes this year. All right, see you next time.